True.
Greetings, smart and attractive people of the internet. In this video, we're looking at the interactive bits of Garfield the movie, the DVD, based around everyone's favourite cat. Well, okay, second favourite cat. So there are two games included on the DVD, or rather one game and one activity. Let's look at the game first, which is called Find Odie Maze Game, a title as imaginative as the movie's script. Well, it sure looks like garbage. I've seen Flash games advertising lawn sprinkler systems with more style than this. It doesn't help that there is zero music, minimal sound effects, and no animation. You do get a little clip of the movie if you win or lose, but that's about it. I of course can't show you any of these clips, as I fear the deadly wrath of Jim Davis. Anyway, I actually kinda like what this game has going on mechanically. Basically, it's an incredibly simplified roguelike, like if you simplified Infinite Jest so it read more like Hop on Pop. Note that I haven't actually read Infinite Jest, although I do have it sitting on my shelf, so I look smart to people who visit. I have read Hop and Pop though, that's a great book. Anyway, in the game you wander around the exotic location of an air duct maze, which is a reference to a scene in the movie, and need to find 4 items to find Odie and win the game. The maze layout is always the same, but your starting and item locations are randomized every play. Now there are 2 things you have to worry about. First, there are vents that may randomly crush under the weight of Garfield, which feels like the game is fat-shaming him a little, and the game will be over if he falls through. There is always an alternate path without a vent though, so going over them is always optional. So why use them at all, I don't hear you ask? Well, they often offer a quicker path to where you need to go. And why does that matter? Garfield's famous insatiable hunger is to blame. There is a hunger meter at the bottom of the screen that depletes with every move, and if it empties, it's game over. I assume Garfield's lifeless corpse just stays in the air ducts until it's found months later, when everyone in a building starts to wonder why the air conditioning smells like dead cat. Luckily, there is Canadian air duct lasagna all over the place, and collecting it will partially fill the hunger meter. Unfortunately, this is a bit broken, since moving off the screen and coming back will just make the lasagna magically respawn, trivializing the hunger issue, although it does sound like heaven for Garfield, am I right? But still, I think it's a neat little game about resource management and risk versus reward. No classic by any means, but it could keep a kid entertained for a little while. It kept me entertained for a few minutes after all. Then there is mixing moments with Garfield. So here you can make a Garfield related image by mixing and matching different characters and backgrounds. The main problem here is that for one, it doesn't really allow any creativity beyond selecting a pre-drawn image at a predetermined location, and there also isn't much content. For example, there is only a single image of John to use. I don't see this keeping kids entertained for longer than a minute. So there you have it, the interactive parts of Garfield the movie, the DVD. Do I recommend picking it up for them? No, absolutely not, especially since the movie is also quite rubbish and is an insult to the legacy of Nathan Masry. Greetings, smart and attractive people of the internet. In this video, we're taking a look at the game included with the Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams DVD. The game is called Transmooker Trouble, and, well, it's just a quiz about the movie. It's cosmetically themed around the film with good production values and playability is solid, but it's just a quiz. To make things worse, there is only one set of questions, so there is no replay value. Additionally, despite saying the world will be destroyed if you fail, you just get a game over screen. I wanted to watch the world be blown up due to my lack of Spy Kids knowledge. What a disappointment that was. So, not much to talk about really, but how about the film? This was the first time I've watched a Spy Kids movie and I thought it was pretty fantastic. It begins in a totally wild theme park, then moves into spy territory with hacking and sneaking about, and then becomes an adventure movie on an island full of giant mutant beasts. The main thing with this installment is that it pays homage to old stop-motion adventure films like Jason and the Argonauts, so the giant critters are deliberately poorly animated, in addition to a crew of skeletons, or a skeleton crew, if you will. So yes, lots of humour, lots of action, and positive themes about family and doing what you believe is the right thing to do. Great kids movie, and still entertaining for adults. Also, Antonio Banderas is great in it, but then when isn't he great? He's the greatest! So, do I recommend you track down this DVD? No, since the game is really not interesting, and the Blu-ray has all the other special features, so that's it. Greetings, smart and attractive people of the internet. In this video, we're taking a look at the DVD game included with Disney's The Rescuers. It is titled The Ultimate Case, which is a bit misleading. I would have called it The Ultimate Crap. So here's how it works. At the bottom of the screen there is a collection of items you must find. At the top there are 4 locations you can visit. All you have to do is find the items in the order listed. You do this by looking around the 4 locations and selecting the object once you find it in the same manner as selecting a DVD menu item. Once you've collected them all, there is one more hidden location for you to find, and then you win the game. That's literally all there is to it. It's barely a game at all, and even as an activity, it's mind-numbingly dull. Now, a proper hidden object game would have actually been cool, and it could have worked by having different sectors on screen like how light gun games work on DVD. But this is barely anything at all, especially since all of the objects are in plain sight. So enough about the game, how is the movie? This was the first time I'd seen it since I was a kid, and I thought it was okay. It certainly is a beautifully animated movie, but I was surprised by how dark it was. Not only in that the movie rarely takes place in daylight, but also that it's about an orphan who's kidnapped and forced to work in a dangerous cave to recover a diamond, who 2 mice set off to rescue. It's a solid adventure movie, but I found it didn't have strong themes to give it real depth. But hey, sometimes you just want to see 2 mice travel across the country and outwit 2 alligators to help a girl escape the bayou. I do have a few gripes. For one, I found the grotesquely over-animated villain, Madame Medusa, to feel a bit misogynistic, and I later found out that the person who basically single-handedly animated her based the character on a woman he hated, so that explains that, I guess. Luckily, the other female characters are written much better, especially the kidnapped victim, Penny, who is one tough nut. I also found an early scene a bit cringy, where a bunch of mice get all hot and bothered over Miss Bianca, the female lead voiced by Ava Gabor, who also happens to make bedroom eyes for about 90% of the movie. I imagine this movie woke up a lot of furries. Speaking of actors, the male lead Bernard, voiced by Big Bang Theory star Bob Newhart, does a great job of portraying the character as a timid mouse who comes through when things get tough. In fact, all the actors do a great job. So, would I recommend this DVD? No. All the other features plus new ones are on the Blu-ray, or you can just stream the film instead. Greetings, smart and attractive people of the internet, and let me begin this video by saying there ain't no party like a Shrek Princess Club party, and by that I mean no party is as boring as a Shrek Princess Club party, because this is a product that completely misses the whole appeal of the Shrek films. But before I go into how this DVD is an insult to the masterpiece that is Shrek the Third, let's talk about what it actually does offer. So, this is an interactive DVD featuring 4 minigames, each based around a different fairy tale princess, but all hosted by Princess Fiona herself. Can you believe they actually got Cameron Diaz back for this? Well, you shouldn't believe that, because they totally didn't. Oh, each of the games also support up to 4 players. First up, we have Snow White's Dance Party, though the only dancing in the original story was when the evil queen was forced to prance around in red-hot iron slippers until she died. Unsurprisingly, this game doesn't involve that. Instead, the game is literally Simon, except slower and less exciting. It starts by showing shoes moving up, down, left, or right a number of times. The player then must repeat the sequence with more moves added after each successful attempt. Once the player messes up, the game is over. It plays far too slow, is boring to look at, and boring to listen to. At least the original Simon had the buttons play different tones to make it more exciting. Dance Dance Revolution? This is more like Pants Pants Revolution. Ha 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 ha. Next up, we have a game built around what children find most exciting of all: crosswords, presented as Sleeping Beauty's Crossword Scramble. I can see why they went with this princess, because this game will put you to sleep alright. Ha 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 ha. If anyone who plays this is excited by crosswords, well, too bad, because it's actually more of a quiz with largely Shrek-related questions. The player is given a clue, and the game cycles through multiple answers like a slot machine. You have to press a button when the correct answer is displayed, and the word is then plopped down onto a crossword puzzle. The crossword element only really becomes a factor when multiple answers are already filled in, as it makes other words more obvious to guess, but that's about it. I will admit some of the fake out answers are mildly amusing, but aside from that, this is another game that's as bland as English cooking. Why couldn't more of the answers be something like the word fart? That would have been funny to kids, and also funny to me. The third game is Cinderella's Slipper Sling. This is the most interesting game of the bunch in my opinion, probably because it feels like an old Flash game, but it's also barely playable. There are 9 possible places for a target to pop up, and once it does, you use automatically moving sliders to select an angle and strength to throw a glass slipper. The problem is that the direction the shoe is thrown feels random to me, and instead of logically selecting where the meters should be to hit a target, I ended up having to find the right spots through trial and error. As a result, it feels incredibly unsatisfying to play. Here I thought I would be having a gas, but it soon turned out these slippers were made of glass. I need to make a small correction. It turns out this was unplayable because I was using a PC. If you run it on a DVD player, it plays just fine. It's still not very exciting, but it at least works. Finally, we have Rapunzel's Dress Up, Mess Up. In this one, you're given a short amount of time to study Rapunzel, in a non-creepy way, and memorize what she's wearing. You then have to correctly select the crown, necklace, top, and dress she was wearing. You have 3 options for the first 2 items, and 4 options for the latter 2 items. Now, fans of classic retro games may notice this is a direct rip-off of a minigame found in Barbie's Supermodel, except that game did it better because there was far more variety, plus there was cooler stuff to do around the activity, such as cruising around Hollywood in your sweet hot pink convertible. So here is the big problem with Shrek Princess Club. It's incredibly boring. Even worse, it feels like the kind of squeaky clean, bland product that would be put out to promote a Disney princess film, the very thing the original Shrek movie largely parodied. The whole movie was about turning its nose up at those kinds of films and making silly, sometimes gross jokes, and kids of all genders loved it. So where is the edge here? Where are the fart jokes? Feels like fart jokes too, just ask my nieces, they laugh at them for hours. The closest thing this game has to anything edgy is a slipper tossing contest. Okay, I guess the menu music is also pretty cool, even if the rest of the game sounds like it's taking place at a Renaissance fair. Princess Fiona doesn't even provide any sass in her commentary, and sounds like she belongs in a Barbie game instead. Just because a product is aimed at girls doesn't mean it has to be bland and boring. But hey, maybe you got this as a kid and loved it. If so, feel free to call me a jackass in the comments. Just make sure to also like and subscribe. Greetings, smart and attractive people of the internet. In this video, we're looking at Despicable Me presents Minion Madness. It's a collection of 3 Minion short films, plus a collection of DVD games, which is what we'll be focusing on in this review. Now, everyone seems to hate Minions these days, but I think they're fine in small doses. I enjoyed the short films on this DVD, and also their appearances in the Despicable Me films, though I haven't seen their spin-off movies because, as I said, I enjoy them in small doses. I think the main problem people have with them is the excessive merchandising push, since it feels that the not-so-subtly phallic creatures are literally everywhere. A big problem people apparently had was their aunties posting cringingly sassy Minion memes, like those old Garfield shirts with Tood. Something fun that came out of that was people posting Minion memes with quotes from Hellraiser, which apparently took the fun out of it for other people and the meme stopped altogether. I guess that's a bit mean really, but I also find it pretty hilarious. Anyway, as mentioned, there is a collection of games on this DVD, all of which take place in Super Silly Funland, the theme park from Despicable Me. There are 4 games altogether. The first one is Dunk a Minion, where you try to hit a target to dunk a minion in water. There are 3 rounds, with the target getting smaller each time, and you get 3 balls for each round. First you pick a throwing style, then select how much power you want behind your shot. Of course, you can get a perfect score every time with some trial and error, but it's still a fun little diversion for a couple of minutes. The second game is Match Madness, where you have a selection of cards at the bottom of the screen and pictures swing around above. The aim is to match a card to a swinging image before time runs out. There are 3 rounds, which give you 3 attempts each, and every round adds more cards. It actually gets a little tricky when you have a deck full of minions who all look pretty similar. Then you have Feed the Creatures, which is a take on that carnival game where you stuff balls into a clown's mouth, except this time it's actually possible to get what you aim for. You have 5 balls, not in your pants, and it's all in the timing, pressing the button when the head is in a position where the ball will roll to where you want it to. Alternatively, you can watch the numbers highlight at the bottom. I wish the speed got a little faster each time, because as it is, it's a bit easy. Having said that, it did take me a couple tries to get the perfect score. Finally, we have Tin Can Alley, which is another shooting gallery game, but this one is in real time. There is a power meter and a direction meter moving at the same time, and you have to do your best to match them both up to knock all the cans down. This is by far the most difficult game of the bunch, as even if you know when the perfect time to throw is, it's still hard to actually press the button at the exact point. Sadly, there is no version of Space Killer to play, the game seen in the movie. I guess this takes place after Gru destroyed it. What I love most about these games is that you can cash in your points for fabulous prizes. That's right, after each game you get to pick a prize, with bigger ones offered for bigger points. You can get a cookie robot for a small amount of points, and with a large amount of points, you can even get Gru's car. Sometimes you can even gamble all your points for a mystery prize behind a door, or spin the wheel of Miss Fortune. Sure, it's all meaningless, but it's just an extra bit of character that really adds to the experience as a whole. As for the other content, as mentioned, there are 3 short movies. The first is Home Makeover, where the Gru Girls and the Minions team up to help make the home look more child-friendly for an inspection. This is the most charming and fun of the 3 movies, mainly thanks to the girls. The second movie is called Orientation Day, which is my favourite because it opens with a parody of those training videos you watch when you start a new job. The second half mostly consists of a slapstick fight, which is amusing, but not as strong as the first half. Then we have Banana, the weakest of the 3, as it's just one big slapstick fight over a banana. It was fine, I guess, but really it just showed me how much the minions require outside characters to have any real depth to them. So, would I recommend this DVD? No, because if you get the Blu-ray version of Despicable Me, not only do you get the original movie, but also the short movies and Super Silly Funland, plus a whole bunch of other extras. That's the edition I say to get if you're a fan of the movie, plus it's super cheap these days. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching.